Sure. So I am going to be recording the Zooms. I've got the first one from last week, so they're going to be uploaded tomorrow. So if anyone obviously misses anything for whatever reason, because it is a massive commitment, it's 8 o'clock in the evening, you've all got better things to do than be listening to me. But I do also find that these are very, very beneficial. Because every week when people are checking in, we're going to go through certain struggles and common themes that everyone's going through. And it's your chance as well to ask any questions, anything that you're struggling with. So this week we're going to go through check-ins, measuring progress, because that's something that people are kind of not doing consistently. And obviously, if we want to get results, if we want to be making progress, we've got to be making sure that we are holding ourselves accountable and checking in on the days that we're checking in. So it's not a telling off, but you know, you are investing in yourself. You've signed up for the academy, so we need to be making sure that you are giving as much as you can. I can help you along the way. I can remind you, but obviously it's going to be so we're going to be talking about the importance of that. And then emotional eating is something that's really cropped up this week in check-in, so we're going to be going over a bit about that. So just as a little bit of a warm up, we're going to go straight into the topic of emotional eating, and it's something that many of us experience as well. It can be environmental things that can trigger it. It can be something as serious as loss in the family. It can be stress. It can be so many things that does trigger emotional eating, and I think it's something that doesn't always get spoken about a lot. So all I want to know is like, I think you can raise your hand, you can put it in the chat. Who has ever experienced emotional eating before? I have. And at the time, it does make us feel good in that moment where, yeah, someone's put in the chat. See, I don't want to feel like I'm missing anyone. Yeah. So we've all experienced it. And like I said, I think it's something that isn't spoken about a lot. So obviously in this Zoom, we're going to be talking about like how we can overcome it and things like that. So what I want you to do is just to explain to me if you've noticed themselves ever reaching for something. The dog wants to bloody go out now, wait a minute. Go on, piss off. DL. Sorry about that. He'll end up coming back in. So I want you to just tell me one situation, put it in the chat, of where you've noticed yourself reaching for food when you weren't physically hungry. And it can be, has it been during stress? Is it boredom? Was it like even a celebration? Like, just open it up in the chat. When have you noticed yourself reaching for food when you weren't physically hungry? Now, with me, it's definitely boredom. Boredom is the one thing that I really struggle with, and that's when I turn. Boredom, tired, stress, deadlines, definitely. A lot of it can be emotionally as well. But for me, the big thing is it's definitely boredom. That's the one thing that I do really, really struggle with. So emotional eating, we all deal with at some point. Like I say, it can be certain things that trigger it. It can, like I say, stress. It can be boredom. But the one thing that's important to remember, especially when you're experiencing things like emotional eating, is to not be hard on yourself. And we spoke about this last week in the Zoom from last week, about how it's you that's getting yourself through this journey. It's you that's going to, on the days that you're struggling, on the days that you don't want to do something, it's you that's going to have to lift yourself up and get you through the struggles. So the one thing that you need to really, really try to be is not be hard on yourself. And treat yourself like you would treat a friend. If your friend was struggling with anything, if they needed support, you wouldn't be hard on them. You'd uplift them. You'd give them strategies. You'd say that they'd support them. And that's how we need to think about ourselves. And when we experience something like emotional eating, the first thing we need to do is try and realize what has triggered that. And once we've realized what the trigger is, we then need to be kind to ourselves and try and find ways of overcoming those triggers. So like I say, if boredom is one of them, when you get to the point of getting bored, there's little strategies that you can put in place that's going to allow you to not be bored. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but even if it was something like getting up for a walk, taking dog for a walk, cleaning, just anything that's going to snap you out of that feeling, that emotion, that's going to start the process of emotional eating. So, like I say, everybody experiences it, and funnily enough, it's cropped up in the academy group tonight. And this is what I love about the academy. It's, you know, it's a place where people can open up about their struggles, and it's so brave to come out into strangers and to basically, you know, let them know what your struggles are. But it's also good because there'll be someone else experiencing that as well and think, oh bloody hell, like it's not just me, you know, because sometimes we do compare ourselves to other people's journey. People will be posting the meals and saying that they've lost this and they've lost that, and we do kind of reflect on ourselves and think, well, why am I not doing this? I'm useless. I'm this, I'm that. And sometimes I'm glad that people are sharing struggles, because it makes it so relatable that we're, you know, that we all experience things. Like no one is perfect. And I can honestly say, as everyone's coach, that there are going to be triggers. You are going to experience things that are going to really, really, you know, trigger binge eating, emotional eating. So hopefully, like from today, this will give you kind of like the tips and the tricks, and, you know, just to make you aware of what is triggering you when it does that. And like I say, work, stress, boredom are kind of the ones that can trigger emotional eating as well. It can be, you know, if we've experienced trauma, and trauma is a massive thing, that can trigger a certain emotion, and that can make us you know, turn to food for comfort as well. So it's important to know that obviously emotional eating is when we use food to kind of deal with certain feelings rather than hunger. So it's totally normal to find comfort in food, but when obviously it becomes a habit, it can be really, really hard to reach our fat loss goals. So sometimes we eat not because our body like needs fuel. We're eating because, like I said, because we're stressed, we're bored, we've had trauma. Even when we're happy, we turn to food as well. And obviously, and while that's obviously just being a human being, we also want to be aware that when it's happening, so that we can take control of it as well. So it's important to know that emotional isn't it, you know, it isn't just about having willpower or discipline. It's about understanding the why. Like, why has something triggered you in order to do that, and find the eating patterns around things. So like I say, with me, it's boredom. So you will know certain situations and certain experiences that are going to trigger it. So the best thing to do is trying to, like I say, identify them, and then try and find better ways to manage your emotions without turning to certain foods. So if you are quite an emotional person, it's, like I say, it's just important to make sure that you're finding like what triggers the emotion. So if it's anger, it's kind of, well, work is stressful. Sometimes things can really, really trigger us, especially like anger and sadness and things like that. So obviously it's just always important to try and find certain ways to get yourself out of certain situations that are going to trigger it. Like for instance, if it's boredom, if it's like watching certain movies that, like a lot of my friends are very emotional, they can watch certain things and it can trigger them. So obviously, if you watch certain films that you know that are going to make you cry, that are really relatable and bring up certain bad memories, and then it turns to food, obviously don't watch them. Like, try and watch more uplifting things. And obviously stress, like a lot of people deal with stress on day-to-day basis, especially when we're working, we're trying to look after our kids, we're trying to do cleaning the house and everything like that. So what we need to do is try and reduce those stress levels. So if you are someone who gets emotional eating because of the stress, it's obviously when we're stressed, people turn to a lot more like sugary, high calorie foods and high carb foods. So anyone here notice that they eat more when they're stressed? Is there anyone here who's said stress? And do we like sugary? I've got people nodding. Yeah, me, anything. And sometimes when we are stressed, we turn to sugary, high carb foods. And this is because our brain craves quick comfort, and that our food is often the fastest solution in order to do that, because even when we are eating certain foods that we like, it is reducing a few endorphins. So that basically, it's our brain telling us that it needs quick comfort, it needs quick happiness, and that's why we turn to certain foods. So obviously, it's a temporary fix, but it does have a long-term impact, because if you keep doing that, obviously it's really going to make your fat loss goals a lot harder to reach. For me, like I say, boredom is one that I really struggle with. So like I say, just sitting at home and reaching for a snack, whether you're watching Netflix or things like that. And what tends to happen with boredom is that we're looking for something to fill the gap when we're not doing something. So, but food doesn't actually obviously solve the root of the problem. It just distracts us from that moment. So it's a lot of time when, like I say, we might be waiting for something, it might be watching a certain film or just mindlessly eating. So obviously when we're bored, we're just filling the gap, and sometimes that gap when we're trying to fill when we're bored tends to be food. So again, it's just making sure that you don't bloody get bored. Cleaning, cooking, going for a walk, even getting, getting an exercise class in. If you've got 15-20 minutes of being bored, there's certain things that you can definitely do to fill in that gap, so that the food doesn't replace it with that gap, trying to fill that gap up. Again, a biggest one is emotions, loneliness and sadness. We've got a lot of people who might be single parents, and even though you've got children with you, it's still very different. You don't have that adult conversation, and loneliness and sadness can be one of the things that can really turn, make people feel lonely, sad. That can obviously trigger emotional eating, because it gives people that instant comfort as well. Has there been any other triggers, or has anyone ever had any other triggers that's different to stress, boredom, emotions? It could be environmental, which it could be a certain place that triggers certain things. Is there anyone that's experienced anything else other than the usuals? Anyone at all? No, it tends to really just be, like I say, the boredom, the stress, like I say, lack of sleep, again, something that really triggers it. So here's how we can, with whether it's boredom, whether it's stress, whether trauma, anything like this. So there's going to be some like coping mechanisms that I'm going to give that can help with either of these triggers, basically, that can trigger emotional eating. So mindfulness, we spoke about this last week. So it is such a powerful tool, is mindfulness. So when you feel the urge to eat, just pause for a moment, and you just need to ask yourself, am I actually hungry? Or am I just looking to soothe a certain emotion? Is this going to get rid of this emotion completely, or is it only going to fill a gap and do it for a certain amount of time, and then that feeling comes back, so then I turn to more? Like, you've got to ask yourself, and just create an awareness of it as well. So the next thing, healthy distractions. Like I've said, find other things that can fill the gap without using food to fill the gap. Like maybe it's, like I say, going for a walk, doing some, even meditation, anything like that, a bit of journaling, talk about affirmations, things like that. And try to engage in activities that address the emotion directly as well, instead of like putting it under the carpet and getting food to replace it. So it's things like that. Emotion management. So as hard as this is, it's sometimes better to deal with emotions head on, and not trying to brush it under the carpet and getting food to replace that. As I think it depends on certain people. A lot of people really struggle to talk about their emotions, especially if it's a trauma and something that really people really struggle to talk about. But I always find that dealing with emotions head on is like essential in order to name the feeling out loud and just get everything off your chest there. And then if you're stressed, try and find ways to reduce the stress, like maybe through exercise, meditation, hobbies and things like that. And it's always important that you've got to remember that you have got an amazing support system around you. I'm hoping that everyone at home has got an amazing support system, but if you don't have an amazing support system at home, like one of the academy members did tonight, post it in the group. We are all there to support one another. And if it means saying it out loud, addressing the emotion, how you're feeling to a group of people, and then they give you the support back so that it stops you from that feeling and that trigger turning into a binge or an emotional eating, then do it. I've just privately messaged that Academy member as well, because I think it's taken a lot of courage and a lot of bravery for someone to come out and say, this is how I'm feeling, this is how I'm struggling, and obviously to hit that emotion head on as well. Another thing is, if you know certain situations trigger emotional eating, like plan for them. For your example, if you're someone who eats when there's stress, and you try relieving that stress by turning to food, like do a workout instead, or do a meditation before you even think about the food, and just try and plan ahead for certain things. So if you know, like deadlines, if you know that a deadline's coming up and you know that you are going to be really stressed building up to that deadline, try and put things in place that are going to ease that stressful time. Find something that you enjoy doing, watching a nice funny program, doing an exercise class. There's things like that we can try and plan for, and just be organized. I know that stress, one of the things is when people don't meal prep and they think, oh, I've had a really crap week, I've not meal prepped, I've not been able to do my workouts, I've had a really, really crap week, so then I'm feeling crap, so that emotion comes, then you just think, you know what, I've messed up this week, I might as well just eat what I want, and then it just becomes a bloody vicious cycle, and that is something that we want to get out of. So I can honestly say, really try and be organized, plan ahead, use the trackers from the habit tracker and the planner from the app, get it printed out and put everything in place. And to kind of finish, like, is there anyone who, we've all experienced emotional eating, is there anyone who's got like a go-to method that they want to share in the chat, how they handle their emotions? Because people who'll know me, and you'll get to know me, I'm very emotionally awkward. Like, you get socially awkward people. I'm very emotionally awkward. I don't really show a lot of emotion. So it is very hard. So I have emotionally eaten, but it's always been like through stress or boredom. I'm not really an emotional person. But is there anyone who's does something religiously, if they know that it's going to, if they're stressed, bored, anything that they do, that prevents them from emotionally eating? And obviously, if we throw it in the chat, it just gives people, a little bit more ideas of things that they can do. And sometimes when you hear what other people kind of what their routines are when it's becoming this, it kind of might relate with someone, so it can help you as well. So let me know in the comments if there's anything that you do religiously and you found that it's helped you reduce maybe the emotional binge, maybe it's completely stopped it. Distract yourself, bottles of water, definitely. So not only are you getting your water, you are reducing that hunger as well, and it's keeping you busy as well. Anything else? Try to distract yourself. That's really good. Even if it's things like cleaning, like I say, journaling, writing things down, how you're feeling, doing an exercise just for 10 minutes, anything that can just distract you from it. Or reach for a chopped up cucumber. Love it. But like I say, it's whatever. Everyone has their own ways. Everyone has their own strategies and things that help them. And sometimes if we're feeling sad, it might be just something as simple as just watching your favourite funny film, anything like that. But before we move on, is there any questions for anyone? Have you got any stories you'd like to share about experience of emotional eating? It could be something that you're struggling with right now, or you've noticed that works. I've been trying food in this week. That has helped. Brill. It's just like I say, I think it's just good for people just to share their experiences and things that help them. And obviously, if you're trying to do things and you just feel like it's not working, that you feel that you are turning food a lot more than to kind of mask those feelings and to get through certain situations, then obviously anything, any strategies that anyone has that works, please do, like, just message in. But it's been really nice to have the support that's been in the group this evening, and hopefully that academy member will go away feeling not as bad, and that everyone experiences it at some point, and obviously they've left with a lot more strategy and things that they can put in place and be in a better position than what they were this evening. So like I say, just addressing emotional eating is just a key part of your fat loss journey. And when you learn to manage your emotions in healthier ways, it just makes staying on track and reaching your goals a hell of a lot easier. But just also know that you're not alone. And that emotional eating is just something many people experience. But hopefully from today and within the academy, you've just got the tools that go into, you know, reduce them and just to make you handle it a lot better than what you've been doing. So obviously, if it's something that you struggle with, just for the next week or so, just try to kind of be mindful about your eating patterns and what those triggers are. And instead of like, and ask yourself, like, why am I reaching this food? Is it going to make me better, or is it just going to make me better for a short bit of time and then it's just going to go back into that vicious cycle? So try and determine whether it is actually hunger or if it's just the emotion that is triggering the hunger, and just try and distract yourself from things. And, you know, once you identify like what the trigger is, choose one of the coping, like the healthier coping strategies, like distract yourself and things like that can help you whilst you know try and overcome the emotion, and as you progress through the program as well. So before we kind of like wrap up, and we'll just throw the floor to you guys if you've got any questions. Is there any goals that you want to kind of set yourself related to emotional eating? Because there might be some point, whether it's stress, boredom, anything. What's a goal that some of you are going to wanting to achieve this week? So every week on these Zooms, we are going to try and set ourselves goals, because sometimes by saying it out loud, putting it in a chat, it holds us more accountable and it makes sure that we do it. Had a good strategy, just prep for a few days, then a whole week doesn't feel too big. Exactly. And that is exactly what I do as well. So if the emotional eating is coming due to stress and meal prepping, try not to do the full week, do it in small doses. So I tend to prep on a Sunday for Wednesday, and then I do it on a Wednesday for the rest of the week. Whereas some people that might be too much because you're kind of prepping 2 days, but sometimes not prepping as many meals might make it a lot more easier. But yeah, is there any goals that people are going to try and do this week? And it doesn't, like I say, it can be through when you start to feel bored. It can be you know, if you are stressed with certain things. So for me, I think one of the things like with boredom, for me, obviously I don't get it as much because I'm constantly bloody busy, but stress can be one. And I've noticed that I'm not going to bed as early as I should. So my goal this week is to go to bed at a reasonable time and get decent hours sleep. And I know it's hard when Lucas keeps getting in the bloody bed, but I'm going to try. That's my goal. So I said last week I was going to meal prep, which I did. People who were here last week, I did meal prep and I've stuck to it. So I'm letting you know that I've done that. But it's also sleep. And I know I can't help it if Lucas gets in the bed, but I am going to try and get to bed a lot earlier. So is there anyone else? What goals are other people having? Let me know, because I think if you say it out loud, you will hold yourself more accountable. Don't be shy. Let's get it out there. People might get a walking pad and they might go on the walking pad instead of being bored. To be honest with you, I think as women, we very rarely get bored because we're always bloody busy doing everything, to be honest with you, trying to do multiple things. You enjoy your meal out at the weekend, but get back on track the next day. Definitely, Celia. And that's the thing as well, banking calories. I know you've been banking calories, you've been telling me, but definitely, and not feel guilty. So this is something that triggers an emotional eating, is that we enjoy ourselves. We've eaten, obviously we've gone out, we've eaten foods higher in carbs, higher in calories and things like that, and then we get, oh, feel like crap, I shouldn't have done that, then that can trigger it. So just enjoying your meal out and just getting back on track, no guilt, no emotion attached to that, and carry on. Distracting yourself with jobs, definitely. So yeah, just all these things, just make sure you just hold yourself accountable. Um, so that's it about emotional eating. And to be honest with you, I'm really proud of the openness and honesty that you've shown, and obviously the support that you've shown that member in the academy today. And I say this every week, but just remember that this journey, it's not about progress, and it's about progress, not perfection. So stop striving for that perfection, because you are gonna find this very difficult, and you are going to be very hard on yourself if you constantly try and be perfect, because no one is bloody perfect. And obviously if you need any support between now and the next check-in, let me know. And whilst we're on this topic of check-in, it is just so carry on. Sorry, they're all coming up now, these things. Carry on hitting your workout targets of 5 a week, complete the marathon shine walk on Saturday. Oh, good luck for that, Lauren. And we've already had Emily, who's done her Great North run. So we've got, you are putting me to shame. I am just saying that because, well, I've been PTing Emily, and she knows that I'm not a cardio person at all. So all you people doing marathons are really putting me to shame, and I really do think I probably need to get my ass in gear and actually do one. Because you're all doing amazing. So good luck for that on Saturday, Lauren. We wish you the best of luck. Put it in the group so everyone can support you, and we can cheer you on when you've done it. And take 5 minutes if I get stressed or frustrated before grabbing food. And you shouldn't, exactly. So back onto check-ins, just before we open the floor for questions, and then we can all go. Just really make sure that I want you to get the most out of this academy, and everyone that's in there are invested in themselves and wanting to strive and reach their goals. And the only way I can support you, and the way that you are going to make that progress, is by checking in. It's very different with my one-to-one clients, because I will chase them up and say, get your check-in to me. But with the academy, it's very different because it's a group coaching. But I really can't emphasize the importance of doing it. It's the only way to hold yourself accountable and to actually see that if you are making progress. And this is why we're here. We want to be making progress. So that's you telling off. If you haven't done it this week, I want you to start doing it. And if Wednesdays are a day where you think, shit, I really struggle with that, reach out to me and just do it on a day that you can, but you just need to let me know. Because I want everyone to get the results that they deserve, and they can get the results. But like I say, there's only so much I can do, but you've got to be getting your get your check-ins in. They're important, and it's also so that I can monitor that things are going in the right direction, and for you as well to see the progress. When you've been working so hard every single week, you want to see progress. So pictures, measurements, and checking questions, get them in. Finally, any questions? Because I know what happens. I'll say questions and everyone's all like quiet and don't say anything. And then I get bombarded with a load of questions from you all, which I don't mind, but it could be a question that someone else is really struggling with. So it doesn't have to be emotional eating. It could be anything that you might need tips on. Obviously, we've just had Celia going out the weekend. If you are ever going out at the weekend, bank your calories. Shave off a couple of 100 calories every single day. Then you've got like a bank of calories to enjoy at the weekend. And then obviously when you've gone out at the weekend, you're not hard on yourself. You don't speak to yourself like shit. You just get back on it, drink your water, back on track, and there we go. But if there's any questions, anything, I'm going to give you a minute or so to put them in, and then I can answer them. Because this is what this Zoom's all about. It's going through any questions, anything that you're struggling with at the moment. I'm here to help simplify it and make it a lot easier on you guys. And give me a minute, because I know what's going to happen. We'll get there, and you're going, oh, needed to ask her that. But obviously, if it's a very personal question, then that's absolutely fine. I understand that you might want to answer it, not to everyone. But apart from that, is everyone okay? Everyone's enjoying the process. Everyone feel supported from myself, from the academy members. Like I say, I'll get the Zooms up. Oh, loving all of it. Brill. Glad you're loving it. Glad everyone's happy with everything. Next week I am going to put this in the group. We've got Charlotte, the life transformation coach. Now she will be amazing. So it's so important that you come that, but it is at 7:30 because she lives in another country. So obviously if we were doing it at 8 o'clock, she were doing it at 10 o'clock at night. So she's asked if she can do it at 7:30, which I have agreed to. So I am going to give everyone a bit of notice, and I think I've already put it in the group. But I am going to remind people. I mean, obviously I will not be offended if I end up with like 20, 30 odd people on that call, and I only get the odd few for me. Absolutely fine, not bothered. But this is all the point of the academy, but we are getting experts from different fields that are going to help you reach those goals and give you tools and strategies like the emotional eating to help you overcome them and to reach your goals. So she's definitely one that we need to be on, because there'll be some activities and things to do on there. Might be a little bit of crowd participation, which is fine, but yeah, really, really excited. And then also what I need to know just before we go is, if there is something that you are really struggling with and you think I would really love a guest speaker to talk about this, the next one that I'm going to try and get is a lady from the network that I'm with, and she provides strategies on dealing with stress and things like that. So stress is one. So I'm going to try and get Jennifer on for a call with us, and then I'm also going to look at other people that I know that have really struggled with binge eating in the past, and they've overcome that. So getting guest speakers like that on. So it's just anything that we can do that I can provide and guests can provide that are going to help you. Will it be recorded? I sometimes only get in just before. Yeah, it's going to be. Everyone's going to be recorded. I've got my USB and it's all going to be uploaded on the video section, so everything's going to be on there. This weekend, I'm going to get more videos, more recipes, and more modules up on there for you. And like I say, I'm in the process as well of doing a snack guide. I think someone in the group wanted like a snack guide of high protein snacks and what certain things to have. So I'm in the process of writing that, which you'll all get access to too. And yeah, but apart from that, I'm glad you're enjoying everything. I'm glad you're using the academy group as a support system as well, and just keep doing what you're doing. Like I said, the check-ins that I had last week, everyone's lost weight, everyone's making progress, so I'm really pleased with how everything's going. And if there's ever anything you want, if anything that you feel like needs improving, let me know, because I'm always striving to give you guys the best service possible as well. But apart from that, I will let you enjoy the rest of your evening. If you need anything, please do reach out for me. And apart from that, have a lovely weekend. Lauren, good luck in the marathon. Please keep us informed and let us know. I really do think I need to start thinking of doing something like that, because you're all putting me to shame. So well done, and I will speak to you all very, very soon. Emily, see you tomorrow. Another amazing workout. We'll smash it. But yeah, thanks everyone, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye. Well done, guys.